Nestled in the heart of the ocean, this island is a paradise for visitors, offering breathtaking landscapes and serene beaches. But while its beauty captivates the world, the island itself is facing immense challenges. At just 3,640 square kilometers, this island may seem expansive from above, but in reality it is a small and fragile ecosystem. With a permanent population now close to 1 million residents, the community has long lived in harmony with its environment, carefully managing its limited resources. However, the recent surge in tourism has brought dramatic changes. Once a hidden gem, the island now welcomes millions of visitors each year, putting immense pressure on its infrastructure. Roads designed for a small local population are now congested with rental cars and buses. In 2024, as the season slows down, already around 12 million tourists have visited since the start of the year. The energy grid struggles to keep up with growing demand, and local water supplies, once abundant, are now strained under the weight of new resorts, hotels, and thousands of daily visitors. The increase in tourism has also impacted waste management. More visitors mean more waste, plastic, food, and pollution, which local services are finding harder to manage. The natural beauty that attracts tourists is under threat from the very industry that sustains it. The Spanish tourism industry began in the 1960s, when the Franco dictatorship opened up to the outside world and sold the country as a cheap destination with good weather, delicious food, and miles of coastline. The sector now accounts for more than 10% of GDP and has helped the Spanish economy in difficult moments, such as after the 2008 crisis. For the island's residents, this boom in tourism is both a blessing and a curse. While tourism creates jobs and boosts the economy, the locals are increasingly concerned about the toll it takes on their home. Rising rents, the degradation of natural spaces, and the erosion of traditional ways of life have led many to question if the cost of welcoming so many visitors is simply too high. Spain's position as a leading tourism destination. Before the pandemic, it had overtaken the US, becoming the second most visited country in the world, behind only France. Indeed, a recent analysis by Google and Deloitte, with projections up to 2040, projects that Spain will soon overtake France. But how many tourists can Spain accommodate? As the island's resources stretch to their limits, the people here are calling for a balance. They are urging for sustainable tourism that respects the island's environment, preserves its culture, and ensures that future generations can continue to call this island home. The issue has sparked protest in hotspots such as the Balearic Islands, which receives around 18 million visitors a year, but is home to just over 1 million. But the Hotel Business Federation of Mallorca believes that tourism is not the only factor behind residents' grievances. The federation points out that the population of the Balearic Islands has risen notably in the past 20 years, increasing from 821,820 people to 1.2 million. It is the equivalent of another city, Palma, it says, in reference to the capital of Mallorca. The challenge, stresses Juan Ignacio Pulido, professor of economics at the University of Jaén and an expert in tourism, is to manage it in accordance with current needs. Until now, the goal has been on attracting tourists, and public policies have focused on promotion. There has been no management of the destinations. It's a global problem. None of the world's most popular tourist destinations, from Venice and Barcelona to Amsterdam and New York, has found the formula to address mass tourism. We are facing a new paradigm, adds Pulido, who believes in a two-pronged approach. Creating a tourism industry that improves the quality of life of residents, for example by giving back the revenue from tourist taxes, and attracting sustainable tourists rather than those with greater spending capacity. We have to go from letting ourselves be bought to selling ourselves, and choosing who to buy. The objective cannot be more tourists, but better ones, he concludes. Taxi services are overwhelmed and struggling to keep up with demand, according to the president of a local taxi service. Public transport services and taxi services are overwhelmed during high season, according to a statement made by BL Moragas, the president of Taxis Quimem, one of Mallorca's local taxi services. In an interview with Cadena SER, he claims that the situation is out of control, and he's endeavoring to find a solution. Taxis Uthman Khatiri, the CEO of OK Mobility, suggests that more hire cars are brought in, but Moragas is adamant that this is not the solution, highlighting that roads across the island are already struggling to cope with the volume of traffic, and pointing out how detrimental this is, both to local residents and visitors wanting to explore and enjoy the island. He insists that public transport services need to be re-evaluated and improved in order to provide some kind of relief, particularly in Palma, taking into account the metro, which he says lacks capacity, and the planned tram system, as well as buses and taxis, the latter two of which desperately need more drivers. Because in the end, this island's greatest treasure isn't just its scenic beauty. It's the community that has cared for it for generations, and they need the world's help to protect it.